As the Navaratri fever picks up and we see celebrations all around us, this is time for us to meet someone very special. So I have a very special guest today for all of you, and here is Premangi. I won't take that effort of making that specific introduction because it's something very, very beautiful. And I'm going to request her to introduce herself.
Well, hello everyone. Myself is Premangi Khagram. Uh, I'm given 30 or 40 seconds to introduce myself. I belong from a small town called Khambalia, which is based very much nearer to Jamnagar. I'm sure Ambani's pre-wedding has told everyone where Jamnagar is very well based. Uh, I come from a family, everyone into business, and my grandfather especially is into garlic farming, which brings me into the business of dehydrated products. My company does dehydrated vegetables, onion, garlic, fried onions, and this particular part is named by Oceanus Exports Private Limited. Under this, mentioning that this is a legacy of my grandfather's business, we aspire and we have been doing exports and we also do domestic. Just to add a little on myself, I'm a yoga practitioner. I am also uh, good with poetries and I like economic styling. Anything about me, I've been at the moment reading good couple of things and which brings me to again come and discuss at different points as Charudat keeps on asking me the questions. But for now, I think I'm really looking forward to discuss his questions and share my part of wisdom to all of you.
Thank you so much for this kind introduction. What has been the journey so far? You had a legacy, but you also had a few steps in between, right?
Yeah. So, legacy is a really big word to say, but there's a huge struggle that has happened between all of this. Uh, what happened with me is, Charudat, I come from Jamthambalia. After my 10th standard, that is my SSC, I moved to Rajkot, that is a little nearer place to Khambalia for further education. Of course, we weren't having good educational facilities from where I was studying, that is in Badinar. St. Anne's High School is the name of my school. Uh, there we went on to different co-curriculum, we went to academics, we jumped into a lot of things, and then I should mention that all my friends were all of this. So uh, we were doing college, but we were doing so many other things that we had no time to do masti even during the college times. uh, I was always a very good student in studies, but together the type of friends that I had were very strong with co-curriculum also. I've also played sports. I've played state level table tennis, and I also have played basketball. So the type of mixture that my personality was getting made right from the school was everything together, and that was not from a business family. It was from the family which was all together, had good amount of people around, my friends, their families, and it made me a very beautiful person when I'm saying now, because right from schools, then to high school, and then to college, we were always very obedient. You will not believe, but we were always very obedient. We were always at the top of whatever we were doing. And that reflects me today. You know, that when you stand beside someone all the time that was your past, you had beautifully, spent in so good of things that makes you a wonderful lotus. You have a mixture of a gang wali ladki to a urban person who's now in making, and you know the threads of all of it together, and you can connect with all the audiences. So that's where I am, really excited that I understand all the notches, and sky is still the limit. I'm not even restricting myself here. So that's where I begin up with. And when then I came here after my in the midst of my PG, when I was doing my MBA, I was done with Rajkot, and I thought that I should, make a move without any degree. any degree. Of course, I was graduated, but without a PG degree or anyone who could hire me, I came to Ahmedabad. It's been a decade here. I trusted and I also doubted my skills of what am I going to do here. But I did things and I always was sure of understanding and trying to do a business. It took me some years to gather up, okay, what I would want to do. In the midst, I did PR. I did join as an intern to a PR company. I worked a little of years with event companies because that's where my portfolio or my liking was going towards. And midst of all of this, then came the idea in my COVID time that again was from my grandfather that I was in my COVID stage and uh, events was something which I was already doing, but that was the least to expect to do between COVID or even after COVID. Because what we used to do in events was it was government events. We used to do public events. So that was the least to do. And uh, quite worried, I asked my grandfather that, events is not working well or want to be. And he got double tense because I was asking this during my COVID. He said, probably this girl is under a lot of fear. And he suggested me a few of options that you have time, you check around all these options which I'm giving. And the first option was, he said, something in dried is getting made in many portions of vegetables, why don't you check it? And I was asymptomatic COVID, I didn't had any symptoms, and I or for almost all the time of quarantine I worked on that. And when I came out, oceanus was already in my head that okay, this is something which I'm gonna work. And COVID gave me a gift of oceanus. That's all about oceanus.
Amazing. Now, this idea of looking at one particular product is great, and you had that for your time. But building it up over a last 3 year period, that journey has been amazing. How did you achieve this?
uh Amazing is a optimistic word to use. It's been a pretty good journey. I'd sum up that it's been a very entrepreneurial journey. uh I never imagined I'm going to be at this stage. Honestly, I'm touching wood and saying this because uh, अपने जब सोचते हैं ना कि हम बिजनेस कर रहे हैं तो हमें हमेशा अच्छी चीजें पहले दिखती है. बट व्हेन यू एक्चुअली जंप इनटू इट और आप जब देखते हैं तो आपको रियलाइज होता है कि जो आप सबसे लीस्ट एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं ना, वो चीजों से ही वो सभी चीजें स्टार्ट होती है. और ब्यूटी कहाँ है कि उस चीजों से अपने आप को वो होप में और वो फोकस में रखने की ट्राई करना. I don't think that ever if I was not an entrepreneur, I would have ever understood what business is like and how much hardship is needed. I think I've become a more wise person, more grounded human being, and someone who empathizes and is sensitive to everything at this point of time. Because I now realize the importance and the value of putting down your time. I think business is not just one zone that you're okay, trying to earn money. Business is too much to do with. Business is touching lives. Business is to be able to, employ people. And I think businesses can teach you a lot of real things. To Oceanus has real sense of life, and I'm still in the process, I'd say.
That's beautiful. That's somewhere the whole philosophical, the part of the cultural part or the writing part. The writer, the poetess is coming out at this particular point. And they're expressing this part. So in this whole idea of building one particular business is like when you are a startup, it's more like raising a particular child. It needs that kind of a care over the three, and particularly early years, it takes a lot of toll on an individual when you are building it up. In this particular time, how do you manage to how do you manage your creativity part along with the whole hardcore numbers and business part?
मेरे लिए क्रिएटिविटी एक्सट्रीम्स में बहुत वर्कआउट करती है, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. व्हेन आई एम द मोस्ट सैड and when I'm the most happiest, that's the time when I can write something or I can relate something. So these two extreme situations when come, I can write things. That's clearer. तो मेरे लिए वो क्रिएटिव जोन बहुत इजी हो जाता है कि अब मैं लिख सकती हूँ. मैं बहुत बहुत सैड हूँ तो मुझे पता है कि कुछ टॉपिक आने वाला है मेरे माइंड में, और बहुत खुश हूँ तो भी आ जाता है. सो और मेरे टाइमिंग्स बहुत क्लियर है कि मैं कौन से टाइम पे लिख सकती हूँ. दैट इज इन दी अर्ली इन द मॉर्निंग और लेट इन द नाइट, ओनली व्हेन आई एम विद माई सेल्फ. बहुत ज्यादा शोर में मैं लिख नहीं सकती, तो मुझे वो भी पता है कि मेरे टाइम क्या है सोचने के और लिखने के. तो वो क्लियर होता है, समवेयर यू आर क्लियर कि अच्छा आज कुछ आने वाला है. दैट आई एम क्लियर ऑफ. And I think when you are good with some creative zones, not just poetry, it helps you ease out. It helps you ease out in some beautiful formulations and you come out with something very beautiful. आज जो मैं लिख रही हूँ वो मुझे ज्यादा जिंदा दिल लगता है. I feel this is more real than what I used to write previously, because I'm living a life. I'm living a life which is uh, which previously was in someone else's shoes, but now is in my own shoes, and I'm able to connect. And the words that come out are actually real, and then they feel more sense when you have felt it very well. So that mixture is and then when one breaks, the other eases out. One when one eases out, the other breaks. So wo, I think that's something which really helps you कि कल कुछ क्रिएटिव करना है एंड कल कुछ बिजनेस ही करना है, तो ये क्लियर हो जाता है when you are also a business person and having a little creative sense.
You've also been traveling a lot for building this part, right? That also brings in a lot of experiences as well. So share some of the
Okay.
experience of building this as a brand, because this is something still at an early stage, while it is very popular across the Western countries, and I believe in the US market as well. Here in India, at least, there are only few specific brands who have been using it. Otherwise, these are still early days for this particular business as such, right? Am I right, or my understanding itself is wrong?
Yes. So when we talk about Ocean Assist product and what I mentioned about it, this is a convenient product category. ये convenient food में आता है. So in India we have unpaid labor, cheap labor. We have good amount of hands to work on. We understand a little lesser than the developed nations for why we need standardization, why we need convenient products, why we actually need products with shelf life, and what are the benefits of having it. So that brings me to a thought that यहाँ पे इसका इस वजह से यूज B2B में ज्यादा चलता है. B2B is largely hotel, restaurants, caterers. You talk about anywhere where bulk catering is done largely. That's the place where our products goes largely. But the times are very nearer to see that we have all been seeing a transition into food. Our steps in food only asks for convenience. हमारे पास 15 ही मिनट होते हैं. Even if I'm a housemaker or not, I only want to cook very quickly. So anything and everything that we are eating has a connection with the timeliness that it takes. Of course, I do admit the fact that not all the food that are made quicker are healthier to eat. But at the same point of time, when we compile up as a whole model, one is trying to eat healthy with less time taken in preparing and quick to eat. So ये सब कुछ हमें जब ढूंढ या मिल जाता है तो वो हम ज्यादा प्रेफर करते हैं. So I am seeing that the coming times are the times of convenient food solutions, and we are quite early to understand the Indian market. But the earlier the better. The earlier the first mover, and the earlier the educator. I see that I'm educating the market. I will be seen as someone who's come and told it first. So they will want to be come back to me and check if how good the product is. So I'm seeing a very good market in the Indian context, at least in the coming times for sure.
Is that first mover advantage also comes with a huge effort of educating the market?
Yes, very much. And it comes with everything together. They have their swords on. They have a lot of questions. I travel with the purpose to tell them what it is and expect nothing except their attention for the initial points of time. I do know that when I'm talking to them, it's of course when I'm talking is going to make sense at one point of time, but it's purely seeding the seeds at one point of time to grow together. So for some, yes, and for some, we know that this particular mass of this particular segment is going to use it quicker. So we try to take quicker steps in making them understand. But yes, we are on an educational mode in a major market segment in India. Export is quite picked up well. Export does very well into the developed nations, and they're very easy pickers. They know and they understand the value, and they have no time to think. They genuinely don't want to know anything bigger than the money and the convenience that any food product gives, along with the shelf life and the health factors, because they're very conscious of the type of product they are eating. And if they that was not sure, the product would never go to the developed nations, because they're very picky in terms of picking up the product.
The important question, COVID time, you looked at that particular idea you wanted to start, right? But there were lots of other easier options that you could have tried at that point in time. So what made you convinced on this particular project, wherein it's very clear from the conversation that you knew that it was going to be effort to build it up in India and even overseas market, it needed some time, certain time period for you to build credentials before all those clients accept you. So why did you take up this specific challenge?
Uh, Firstly, when I saw my graph of internships after my BBA or during my BBA, I saw that I have been interned under Amul. I saw that when I went there, I had a likingness for food products, and uh, by caste, I'm a Lohana, that is Thakkar community. If you see us, we are all good time into food business. If you talk about our own, like my own grandfather, his brothers, and my grandfather's father's business, we all are into food business. Some or the other way, our community is very well spread into multiple food businesses. Even if you talk about Bombay, if you say merchants, merchant exporters, they are largely Thakkars. So there is something in the genes, I say, that brought me here together with the legacy of the business that I was already having. Uh, of course, there was a likingness that I also had, which I mentioned you for during my Amul days. But I think it's not just one thing that compiles you. Even uh, some good destiny also brought me here and put this product in my plate. And I got excited genuinely because uh, when we see today's generation, the Gen Zs, they're all interested into convenience. Today, when you pick any product, choose anything from Amazon, add anything in your cart, it's because it is convenient to you. The only reason we are picking anything in the world is because वो हमें उस मोड से वहां से वो प्रोडक्ट लेना, वो खाना, वो चीज यूज करना कन्वीनियंट है. It's pretty sure that the whole world is moving towards convenience. And I thought, if that's where the core of the world lies down, then let's pick up a product which is futuristic, of course, but which will have masses to eat. And what if you are the educator, you are the face to cater to multiple segments? So I thought that is one challenge to do, but it's gonna be a very loyal audience in the coming times when you pick an industry like this. So all these thoughts picked me up together to work for an industry which was forthcoming, educational based, but yet connected to my roots, my genes, and of course my legacy, all of it together.
Amazing. The story so far that we have been hearing about is starting from a place, exploring yourself, learning different things along the way, and having different times, different challenges, going through a rough patch that all of us have gone through, and that resulting into something more meaningful. And that particular thing also being executed in something very, very important. I think the conversation so far itself is so inspirational for people to listen and realize that a lot of things can happen. But still, I want you to please tell the youngsters what they should be doing, how they should be pursuing.
Okay, I will cut this question into two pieces first. The first is what you should do, and the second is what you should have to do what you want to do, or what you should do. What you should do is the first question. Um, I remember my time when we and even your time, Charudat, that we had very specific options in the plate to do. Today is the time of pick up any particular industry and there is a huge amount of things to do. Genuinely, when I sit with today's generation, I don't understand half of the academics that they have. उनके पास इतने सारे options है. The only thing which I do see missing is, or would want the generation to follow, is the T-shaped path. That is, you focus on one thing and you focus so deeply on it that it gives you that direction that you're gonna work as deeper as possible in anything. Of course, this comes with time. This comes with having understood that that's something which you like. This something which you like has a huge attachment with you to spend, because business or job or self employment, anything that you are at a part of, वो बहुत टाइम वाली बात है. आपको अगर उसमें मजा आ रहा होगा ना, if you enjoy that process even after 8 o'clock and 8:30 p.m. when someone says you to work around, that's the best thing that you should pick up. Though it should be very small. आपको कुछ एक ही चीज पसंद है, but उसमें बहुत डीपली आज इस जनरेशन में घुस सकते हैं. सो माई फोकस इज व्हाट यू शुड डू, आंसर शुड बी टी. आप इतना स्ट्रेट जा रहे हो कि बस आपको जो टी की जो शेप है वो आपके उस पर्टिकुलर सेगमेंट में आपको थोड़ा थोड़ा और डीपर पता है. You know this, but you know this very clearly. So that's something which you should focus, not 10 things to follow together. If one is not working, pick up another one, but give yourself into time zones, set time zones for yourself, that okay, this should be done. If you think that this not working, keep passion separate from your profession. I personally am a sayer who says that my passion is very separate from my profession, because professionally I want to be wealthy. I'm here to make wealth, and I'm here to make, and I'm here to touch lives. That's very clear. And by passion, I like styling. I genuinely like to dress well. That's something which I love doing. But if that's not working out together, focus on your profession. Make money out of it and help people get one. So T is that shape which you should follow of what you should do in anything that you have. वो एक चीज पकड़ लो और उतना उस पे अंदर घुस जाओ कि you know then you should have that PhD of reaching to wherever you want to reach. इसके लिए क्या होना चाहिए आपके पास? आज जो जनरेशन में हम बिलोंग कर रहे हैं, उसमें what's the most important thing that you have is consistency. 80% of the people fail in being consistent. Only reason is because वो हर रोज करना बहुत टफ है. वो बहुत बोरिंग चीज है कि मैं आज वही चीज कर रही हूँ जो कल नहीं हुई थी, और 1.5 साल से शायद वही ट्राई कर रही हूँ जो उस टाइम नहीं हुआ था. But to find out ways to be consistent is also one troublesome thing. So if you know, nothing can stop you. That discipline is that factor which keeps you awake even at 5 o'clock in the morning and lets you sleep even not at 5 p.m. So that's something which you should not miss. And the most important factor is, after consistency and discipline, which you should always have, is touching lives. अगर आप मुझे अगर पता है ना कि मुझे ये करना है और मुझे इससे लाखों लोगों को छूना है, business is the best way to touch lives. And if you have the capacity to start with one person, that one person who is happy at his home because he is happy at his how at his home because he's happy at our workplace, that's the best thing. And that one can convert to thousand can convert into lakhs and someday to crores. Make sure that you're here to touch lives as bigger and as many as possible. This, I think, are the best answers to what you should do and what you should have to do, what you want to, or what you should do.
Thank you so much for these amazing insights. I believe everyone who is listening would be inspired by these. And anything that you need on the part of building this particular business, this is the profile that you need to follow. And a lot of things you would be seeing around coming from Premangi over the years. Thank you so much for your time today, Premangi.
Thank you so much, Charudat. I'd share last words of wisdom that we are all doing podcasts because we all want to get educated. I also hear a lot of it. Uh, One thing that we all should take from each other is the part that we learn in this process of becoming something. I'm sure that in this 15, 20, 30 minutes of communication, whatever could have been passed as a part of my wisdom, I've tried to give at least 1% of it, but there's a huge amount of things to do. I'm sure that all of you take wise decisions in terms of picking up uh, right path to not even just business, but to choose where to spend life with. And there are so many options. I am sure that आप जब बैठ के समझेंगे ना, तो आज जो हमें नहीं पता था हमारे टाइम पे, यू ऑल आर क्वाइट वेल वर्स्ड, आपको हमसे ज्यादा पता है और आपके पास हमसे बहुत ज्यादा ऑप्शंस है. प्लीज वाइज बिकॉज we have a very short life here, and we must use it very well. I just end up myself saying that. Thank you so much.